Video Phantom! Scary stories!
Before we begin, please make sure you visit our Video Phantoms website every day and check out all of the new content and cool stuff we have for you over there. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you won't miss whenever we upload next. With that being said, let's grab your popcorn and enjoy the video.
The name of today's story is called The Haunted Reel. Y'all might want to buckle up for this one, because it's about to get crazy real fast. Sit back, the story begins right now. Alex Parker was no stranger to late nights in the editing suite. As a seasoned film editor, he had spent countless hours poring over footage, meticulously piecing together scenes to create cinematic magic. But this project was different. The old, dusty film reel that had arrived at his doorstep was a relic from another time. A mysterious, unmarked canister with no return address. He had no idea who sent it or why, but something about it intrigued him. The box was old, the cardboard brittle, as if it had been stored away for decades. Curiosity piqued. Alex carefully loaded the reel into his projector. The whirring sound of the film spinning brought a wave of nostalgia. It had been years since he'd worked with actual film instead of digital files. The projector's light flickered to life, casting a dim glow across the small editing room. The screen in front of him lit up with the opening frames of a black and white film. The film was grainy, the edges of the frame warped and scratched, but it had a haunting beauty to it. The first scene was of a vast, empty field, the tall grass swaying gently in the wind. The camera slowly panned across the landscape, eventually settling on a lone figure standing in the distance, barely discernible against the horizon. There was something unsettling about the figure, a stillness that seemed unnatural. As the scene continued, the figure began to move, slowly walking towards the camera. But the closer it got, the more the image seemed to distort. The film crackled, and the figure's outline flickered in and out of focus, as if the camera couldn't quite capture it. A shiver ran down Alex's spine, but he brushed it off. Just an old film, he muttered to himself. Nothing to be scared of. But as the film continued, the unsettling feeling grew. The scenes were disjointed, disconnected from any coherent narrative. One moment, the film showed the figure walking through a dense forest. The next, it was standing in front of an old, decaying house. There was no dialogue, only the eerie sound of the wind and the occasional crackle of the film reel. Alex leaned closer to the screen, trying to make sense of the images. The figure, always the same figure, seemed to be the only constant. But something was wrong. With each new scene, the figure seemed to get closer to the camera, its features becoming more defined, more menacing. Then, suddenly, the film cut to black. The room was plunged into darkness, save for the faint glow of the projector. Alex waited, expecting the film to continue, but nothing happened. He sighed, leaning back in his chair. "Guess that's it," he said, disappointment tinging his voice. But as he reached to turn off the projector, the film flickered back to life. The screen was now filled with the image of the figure, its face finally visible. It was a man, his features twisted into a grotesque, otherworldly grin. His eyes were dark voids, staring directly at Alex, as if he could see through the screen. A cold wave of fear washed over Alex. He recoiled from the screen, his heart pounding in his chest. "What the hell?" he whispered. The man on the screen seemed to move closer, his face filling the frame, his grin growing wider, more sinister. The film crackled again, the image warping and distorting, but the man's gaze never wavered. And then, without warning, the film ended. The screen went dark, and the projector whirred to a stop. The room was silent, save for Alex's ragged breathing. For a long moment, he just sat there, staring at the blank screen, trying to make sense of what he had just seen. There was something deeply wrong with that film, something that defied explanation. He knew he should stop, put the reel away, and never watch it again. But he couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the film, something hidden in the frames that he needed to uncover. He rewound the reel and played it again. This time, he watched with a more critical eye, searching for anything out of the ordinary, anything that might explain the bizarre images. But the more he watched, the more the film seemed to take on a life of its own. The scenes were slightly different this time, the figure moving in ways it hadn't before, as if it were reacting to his presence. As the film played on, the air in the room grew colder. The temperature seemed to drop with each passing second, and Alex could see his breath misting in the air. He wrapped his arms around himself, shivering, but he couldn't tear his eyes away from the screen. The figure was closer now, almost as if it were stepping out of the film and into the room with him. The man's grin had faded, replaced by a look of pure malice. His eyes, once dark voids, now glowed with an unnatural light. And then, just as before, the film cut to black. But this time, the projector didn't stop. The reel continued to spin, the film still moving through the projector, but there was no image on the screen. Alex frowned, confused. He stood up, walking over to the projector to see what was wrong. But as he reached for the machine, the image flickered back to life. Only this time it wasn't on the screen. The man from the film was standing in the room, right in front of the projector. Alex froze, his blood turning to ice in his veins. The man's face was twisted in the same grotesque grin, his eyes glowing with that eerie light. What are you?" Alex stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. The man didn't respond. He just stared at Alex, his grin widening, revealing sharp, jagged teeth. Alex stumbled back, his mind racing. This wasn't possible, none of this was possible. But the man was real, solid, and he was getting closer. In a blind panic, Alex grabbed the reel and yanked it from the projector. The film snapped, the reel clattering to the floor. The image on the screen vanished, and the room was plunged into darkness once again. But the man was still there. Alex could feel his presence, cold and malevolent, standing just inches away from him. He scrambled for the light switch, his fingers trembling with fear. When the light finally flickered on, the room was empty. The man was gone, but the cold, oppressive feeling lingered. Breathing heavily, Alex looked around the room, trying to convince himself it was over. But deep down, he knew it wasn't. He could still feel the man's eyes on him, watching, waiting. He stumbled out of the editing suite, leaving the reel behind. He didn't care about the project anymore, didn't care about anything except getting as far away from that cursed film as possible. But as he drove home, his mind wouldn't stop replaying the images. The man's twisted grin, the glowing eyes. He could still see him, still feel his presence, as if the man had followed him out of the film and into the real world. That night, Alex locked every door and window in his house, but it didn't help. The cold, oppressive feeling was still there, lurking in the shadows. He couldn't sleep, couldn't shake the feeling that the man was still watching him. Days passed, but the terror didn't fade. The man from the film haunted his every waking moment, his dreams filled with that twisted grin, those glowing eyes. Alex tried to go back to work, but every time he sat down at his editing desk, the fear would grip him, paralyzing him. He couldn't tell anyone what had happened. Who would believe him? He could barely believe it himself. But the fear was real, and it was slowly driving him mad. One night, after another sleepless stretch of hours, Alex decided he couldn't take it anymore. He had to get rid of the film, destroy it, do whatever it took to break the curse. He returned to the editing suite, the sight of the place sending a wave of dread through him. The reel was still there, lying on the floor where he had left it. The film was crumpled, damaged from when he had yanked it from the projector. With trembling hands, he picked up the reel and stuffed it into a metal trash can. He doused it with lighter fluid, the smell sharp and pungent in the cold air. Then, with a deep breath, he lit a match and dropped it into the can. The flames roared to life, the film crackling as it burned. Alex watched, his heart pounding in his chest, waiting for something, anything, to happen. But the film burned away to ashes, leaving nothing behind. The oppressive feeling that had hung over him for days seemed to lift, the air growing warmer, lighter. For the first time in what felt like forever, Alex let out a breath of relief. It was over. The film was gone, and so was the man. He was free. But as he turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of something in the corner of his eye. A shadow just for a moment, fleeting but unmistakable. He froze, his blood running cold once again. Slowly, he turned back to the editing suite, his eyes scanning the room. It was empty, but the shadow was still there, lurking in the corners, just out of sight. Alex backed away, his heart racing. He knew what it was. The man from the film wasn't gone. He was still there, still watching, still waiting. And as Alex fled from the room, the oppressive feeling returned, stronger than ever. The man wasn't just in the film. He was in the real world now, a part of Alex's life forever. No matter where he went, no matter what he did, the man would always be there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Hashtag YouTube video description. Haunted Reel. In this terrifying story, a seasoned film editor receives an old, mysterious reel of film with no return address. As he begins to watch, he discovers that the reel contains more than just haunting images. The sinister figure within the film starts to manifest in the real world, stalking the editor both on and off the screen. Despite his efforts to destroy the cursed film, the entity lingers, leaving him with the horrifying realization that some nightmares can never be escaped. The end. Y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Video Phantoms for more terrifying tales.
Hey, what's up, guys? This your boy Quan318. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me to grow. And guys, if you really enjoyed the video, please give it a share on social media, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you guys be hanging out at the most. It really helps, and I appreciate it, guys. Also, my goal is to reach at least 1 million loyal subscribers over the next 5 years. Guys, I'm going to give it everything I got and go hard as I can. And hopefully it pays off for me, guys. And y'all going to be a big part of that. And as I grow, you guys will be rewarded for a lot of stuff for helping me participating. And as just a token of my appreciation, guys, it's the least I can do. Also, guys, make sure you go down in the video description and click the links. Visit all my websites. I done put hella work into these websites, man. Getting them built up, jam-packed with content just for you guys. You know, we got videos. We got the hottest trending offers online. I'm talking about everything, guys. Everything from education, teaching you how to make $1,000 a day online. Like, man, guys, everything that you can think of is on there. So, guys, make sure you go over there, check it out. Click links, watch videos, do your thing, man. I really want you guys to enjoy. I worked hard on it, and I want you guys to really enjoy it, man. So, yeah. Also, guys, while you're down there in the description, make sure you go and check out my other channels. I got links to all of them down below. I worked hard on these channels, guys. I worked hard on my websites. I worked hard on everything for you guys. Make sure you join my Facebook groups. I got Facebook groups set up for every channel that I got, guys. I'm trying to go global, man. You feel me? It's the family, man. This Rich Founders, man. I want y'all to be part of Rich Founders. Y'all part of the family, man. This a mafia, you feel me? Going worldwide with this shit. But anyway, man, love you guys. Y'all be blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.